Katherine. Katherine Morris is an enthusiastic young engineer at SpaceX, the leading aerospace company founded by Elon Musk. At 28, Katherine has achieved what many of her peers can only dream of: becoming part of the rocket development team at one of the most innovative companies in the world. Known for her sharp intellect and outstanding work ethic, Katherine is a key member of the quality control team, responsible for ensuring that every single component of a rocket meets the highest standards before being put into production. Katherine's workday begins early in the morning. She often shows up at the office before the sun rises, holding a hot cup of coffee and a laptop, ready to face new challenges. Not only is Katherine meticulous, she also possesses sharp analytical skills. Even the smallest technical error cannot escape her eyes, in a field where even the smallest mistake can have dire consequences. Katherine's dedication is something the team appreciates. However, behind her strong and professional exterior, Katherine's life has not been smooth sailing. Just a month ago, something happened that turned everything in her already struggling life upside down. Katherine's roommate, the person she once trusted, suddenly disappeared, taking with her all the savings she had planned to use for rent and living expenses. Unable to afford the high rent in Los Angeles, Katherine quickly realized that she could no longer live in her apartment. For many, this would have been the end of their dream of working at SpaceX. However, for Katherine, giving up was never an option. With no place to live and a harsh reality, Katherine had few options. After searching for 2 weeks without finding an apartment that would fit her engineering budget, Katherine was forced to make a bold decision: sleep in the SpaceX warehouse. The company's warehouse, a large, enclosed space that stored equipment and materials, was not the ideal place to live. But Katherine knew it was her only option for saving money and continuing her dream job. She set up a small, tidy corner inside the warehouse with a sleeping bag, a few clothes, and a backpack containing her personal belongings. At night, when her colleagues had left, she quietly returned to the space, catching a quick nap before dawn. Despite her uncomfortable life, Katherine never let her circumstances diminish her professionalism. Every morning, she woke up early, using the company restroom to freshen up. She was careful to make sure no one noticed anything unusual. To her colleagues, Katherine remains cheerful and energetic and always completes her work on time. At SpaceX, work is not easy. Katherine and her teammates often face tasks that require absolute precision and high pressure. Many days, she even has to work late at night to make sure everything is ready for testing. At times like that, Katherine often tries to hide her fatigue and blends into the team spirit. One afternoon, when the team was discussing a complex technical problem related to the Falcon 9 rocket's propulsion system, Katherine came up with an innovative solution that surprised the team. She explained in detail how to use a new material to minimize the risk of vibration during launch. "Wow, Katherine!" Her manager, Richard, lavished praise on her. "I don't know how we would have gotten this far without you on the team." Richard's compliment made Katherine happy, but it didn't dispel the constant worry in her heart. Despite the recognition for her work, she knew that sleeping in the warehouse wouldn't last forever. Late one night, after finishing an important report, Katherine decided to check on some technical details in the warehouse before retiring. That's when she unexpectedly ran into Elon Musk. Elon often visited SpaceX facilities at odd hours to observe the progress of work without putting pressure on the employees. When he saw Katherine in the warehouse, he initially thought she was working overtime, but her tired eyes and visibly thinner face caught his attention. "Katherine, what are you doing here so late?" Elon asked, his voice soft but curious. Katherine was startled, trying to keep her composure. I just wanted to double-check some details on the technical report. Make sure everything was correct, she replied, avoiding his gaze. Elon didn't ask further, but his sharp gaze seemed to have realized that Katherine's answer wasn't entirely convincing. After first seeing Katherine working late at the warehouse, Elon Musk didn't immediately suspect anything was amiss. He was familiar with dedicated employees who would work overtime to keep projects on track. But there was something about Katherine that he couldn't stop thinking about. The dark circles under her eyes, the tired, strained look on her face, and the way she quickly dodged his question about why she was at the warehouse so late. With his busy schedule, Elon didn't have time to dig deeper right away. But a few days later, when he returned to SpaceX headquarters late another night to check on the progress of an important project, he ran into Katherine again, this time with a more unexpected sight. That night, the SpaceX building was nearly deserted. The employees had long since left, and only a few dim lights remained. Elon strolled through the work areas, occasionally stopping to examine the rocket models and blueprints on the walls. As he approached the warehouse, a soft sound rang out, the zip of a sleeping bag. Stepping inside, he found Katherine arranging a small corner of the warehouse, which she had turned into a makeshift sleeping space. A sleeping bag was spread out on the floor, next to a backpack and some neatly folded clothes. A cardboard box served as a desk, with a few technical books stacked on top of it. Elon stood still for a moment, not wanting to startle her, but the faint sound of his footsteps made Katherine turn. Her face paled as she realized he was standing there, watching everything. "Mr. Musk," Katherine stammered, quickly standing up. I can explain." Elon held up a hand to signal her to stop. "There's no need to explain yet," but he said, his voice low and calm. "Let's talk." Elon pulled up a nearby wooden chair and sat down, inviting Katherine to do the same. The air in the warehouse was heavy, but his gaze held no judgment, only curiosity and concern. "Katherine, how long have you been here?" Elon asked, his voice soft but firm. Katherine bowed her head, her hands clasped. "About 2 months," she admitted, her voice barely audible. Elon nodded, waiting for her to continue. "After my roommate left with all my savings, I couldn't afford the rent," and she said, trying to keep her voice even. "I looked everywhere, but the prices were too high. I didn't want to leave the city because this job was my dream. So I decided to stay here temporarily. I know this isn't right, but I have no choice." Elon listened, not interrupting. After she finished speaking, he was silent for a long time, as if considering. "Katherine," and he finally said, his voice low, "I can't imagine how you've dealt with all this while still maintaining your dedication and energy to your work. But you don't have to live like this. We'll figure it out." The next morning, Elon called a small meeting with the company's human resources and finance teams. He asked them to immediately find a way to support Katherine without making her feel pressured or embarrassed. Elon proposed a temporary support fund for employees who were in unexpected difficulties, not just for Katherine, but for anyone in the company who needed help. Elon also met with Katherine in person again, this time in his office. When Katherine walked in, she felt nervous, not knowing what to expect. "Katherine," Elon began, "I've thought a lot about your situation. I don't want a talented employee like you to have to endure such a life when you're contributing so much to SpaceX. So here's what we're going to do." He handed her an envelope, just like before, but this time with a handwritten letter. In the letter, Elon expressed his admiration for Katherine's efforts and pledged to support her not only financially, but also through long-term employee assistance programs. Katherine opened the envelope and found enough money to rent an apartment for a year. She couldn't believe her eyes. "Elon, I can't accept this," she said, her voice trembling. "You're not just getting this," Elon replied. "You deserve it, and you need to understand that we are a team, and SpaceX is a family. No one in this family should face hardship alone." Since receiving help from Elon Musk, Katherine's life has changed in ways she never imagined. Every day, she feels a deep sense of gratitude and a relentless determination to repay SpaceX for the trust they have placed in her. With Elon's support, Katherine quickly found a small apartment near her workplace. It wasn't big, just one bedroom, a living room, and a small kitchen, but to her, it was a world. After months of living in a warehouse, the feeling of stepping into her own space, with windows overlooking the park and an abundance of natural light, brought tears to her eyes. Katherine spent the first few days decorating her new living space. She bought a small desk to continue her research and work from home, some potted plants to bring a sense of warmth, and a comfortable bed, something she had not had for months. Every night, she lay down on her bed, feeling that everything was finally falling into place. But the joy was not limited to physical stability. Being free of the worries of housing allowed Katherine to focus fully on her work. She began to come up with more creative ideas, became more involved in important projects, and became an integral member of the engineering team developing a new rocket engine. Elon's support for Katherine was not only a personal gift, but also an inspiration for her to make positive changes in the workplace. She realizes that there might be other SpaceX employees facing similar challenges, but were too afraid to speak up. Katherine decided to take action. She took the initiative and met with the HR team, proposing the creation of a program to assist employees facing financial or other personal challenges. She explained that supporting employees during difficult times would not only help them overcome challenges, but also foster engagement and loyalty to the company. The program was quickly approved with enthusiastic support from Elon Musk and the leadership team. The SpaceX Employee Assistance Fund was created to provide interest-free loans, mental health support, and personal finance training. Katherine volunteered to be one of the first mentors, sharing her story to inspire others. Although Elon did not often mention the help he had given Katherine, their relationship gradually became closer. Elon often invited Katherine to participate in strategy meetings or discussions about the future direction of SpaceX. He valued her opinion, not only because of her technical knowledge, but also because of her acumen and vision. Once, in a small meeting, Elon told the group, "If we want to send humans to Mars, we need people with an indomitable spirit." Katherine is one of those people, and she is a testament to the spirit that SpaceX represents. Elon's words made Katherine feel both proud and humble. She did not think of herself as special, simply someone who always worked hard for her passion. However, being recognized by the company's founder reinforced her belief in the path she was on. With each new project Katherine took on, she felt more and more deeply the meaning of her work. From inspecting every tiny detail of engine components to participating in rocket launch tests, she poured her heart into each task. One day, standing in front of a Falcon 9 rocket about to launch into orbit, Katherine felt overwhelmed by the scale of what she and her colleagues were doing. "I'm working to change history," she thought, and that made all the sacrifices she had made worthwhile. Soon after, Katherine was assigned to lead a team of young engineers on a project to develop a reusable rocket engine system. It was a huge challenge, but she took it on with enthusiasm and determination. She realized that she was not only doing it for herself, but also to inspire the next generation of engineers. Katherine's story quickly spread within SpaceX. Many employees were inspired by her resilience and humility. Some people even came to her for advice or to share their struggles. Katherine always listened and helped where she could, because she understood that sometimes a simple word of encouragement can make a big difference. In addition to her work at SpaceX, Katherine began participating in inspirational events at universities and community organizations. She told her story, not only about how she overcame difficulties, but also about pursuing her passion and finding purpose in her work. Once, in a talk at MIT, Katherine shared, "Never be afraid to ask for help when you need it." Sometimes, strength is not about doing everything yourself, but about admitting that you need a helping hand to move forward. Under the guidance of Elon Musk, SpaceX continued to advance in its journey to explore the universe. Katherine became an integral part of the team, developing Starship, the spacecraft designed to take humans to Mars. With each step, she remembers why she chose this path. Not just because of her personal dream, but also because of her belief in the human capacity to overcome limitations. One day, when Starship completed its successful test flight, Katherine stood next to Elon Musk and other colleagues, looking up at the sky with pride. Elon turned to her, smiling. "I told you before, Katherine, we can do anything as long as we don't give up." Katherine nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "And we will never give up," she replied. Katherine's story does not end with her settling into SpaceX. Instead, it is just the beginning of a much longer journey. A journey to make human dreams come true. Through the ups and downs, she learned that no challenge is insurmountable with faith, patience, and the kindness of those around her. Katherine's story is an inspiration not only to her SpaceX colleagues, but to anyone facing hardship. It is a reminder that even in the darkest of circumstances, a ray of light from kindness and determination can change a life.